Right, this might be a bit.
2 minutes. Floodgates.
All right, they're gonna do something. Hey! Oh, I see.
That's it. That's the teacher.
Yeah, we're gonna do that right now. I guess. I hope everyone's
Hurry
in
up.
sync.
Time is ticking.
Obviously, I'm not looking at it right now.
Your competition's probably already got a video out. You're
No, they
behind,
don't.
You've lost.
They don't. They don't.
He would.
He won't. Anyway, so obviously it's the key art.
Yeah, but I don't think it's all of it.
It's not all of it, and it's pretty cool actually. Obviously, I don't know what they're doing. Like, it's
Why are
kind
you
of
talking
weird
about
because
it
obviously
off camera?
What do
We're
you mean off
not,
camera.
dumbass.
We're not.
Good.
I mean, obviously, Rockpox is involved, which is actually I don't know how to feel about that now. With a different like main
and it's
theme.
not just Rockpox.
No, exactly. That's what I mean. It's not just Rockpox.
That
that's
is
the
a
best
Rockpox
part.
goo bomber.
Exactly, that's what I mean. And the other guys, you got the
Oh,
Stingtail
no.
and the other weird guy who's spitting blood. It looks
Who
like.
is a mortar striking something out of his ass.
All right. But we do have
That's
some.
what we're gonna go with.
Yeah.
Confirmed that in that pack was the rocket boots, which are being shown used.
Yeah, rocket
and
boots.
Is that the new? It's not a new armor set, is
No,
it?
the armor isn't
They're
actually.
using-
It's still biohazard actually.
Well, but the minigun looks.
The minigun, that's like a
No.
biohazard framework, I think, which is kind of
Yeah.
interesting, obviously, because I don't know how 100% focused on Rockpox it is, because it never got that impression from the teasers. So I don't know if it's going to be called Plague something still, you know, because obviously we know they're not too interested in sequels, or at least we didn't think they were, but Rockpox is still a thing, which we could have guessed. I guess that means that first teaser wasn't lying with the Rockpox. I hope it's just more like just a big part of it, but not like the main theme. It's kind of weird.
But I need to bring it out, Harry. There is something being concealed in the background there.
Oh shit, you're right. The fuck is that? Whoa!
Yeah.
Who's that? And it's a goo bomber. Okay. So basically, for what we can glean from this, or what I glean from it, is that it's going to be like a Rockpox. The main theme is going to be like the Rockpox sequel, actually. But then those new enemies are just straight up new enemies as well, which I actually think is really weird and kind of cool because, kind of. I don't know.
I think. The thing is, I'd like to think we're looking at the whole picture, but we probably aren't, right? Because there's only two of the dwarves. And it feels like it could be slightly zoomed in. And obviously there is something being obscured by like a lot of fog. A lot of
Yeah, I'm
mist
also looking for
and stuff
numbers
like that.
too. Can't see any numbers. I can't see any. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say because it only reveals the goo bomber, which I mean, probably just going to be these guys plus whatever's being concealed. Them two enemies.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Two new enemies to the normal pool.
And a
with some
flying
additional
Rockpox and maybe a Rockpox boss, which is that's what it looks like to me. All right, I know it's kind of that could be jumping the gun. I only say that because that's exactly what I said that it should be.
Yeah, I think it looks like it's going to be a because maybe we wondered what the point of the rocket boots was. They could be a universal thing you would just find in a cave, or maybe these boots are somewhat required to tackle this giant like stationary Rockpox thing. Which my bet would be that it's basically what continues to happen if a meteorite is left untouched, right? Or even after the stage of the warning, if it still continues to be that way, it grows into whatever this
I'm
is.
definitely not going to
That's
call.
my
I'm
theory.
definitely not going to call Dreadnought either. I'm definitely not going to call that because it doesn't inherently look like one. I mean, obviously we can't see it.
It's the tendrils
so it
that
could
are
be.
pretty wild. Like
Is it me? Or does that Stingtail look way more blue?
Yeah.
But I was right about the dude on the right. How that green part of him like travels up, and it looks sort of
His arms are so far back.
He's a weird guy. I like him though.
He's
He's sort of
very
spitting.
ugly
Does that mean
fella.
he can cross off mortar? You think?
I think
on the
maybe.
bingo.
Yeah, I think yeah, this is pretty good considering it's just like a split seconds. No, I mean, obviously they played it for a little bit longer after, but just a single image. This reinforces a lot of what we've already seen and shows us even more.
Yeah, the rocket boots are
So
clearly very important. I mean, as in it might not go further than that, or they might be introducing power ups. Either way, I hope they're introducing something that they can at least add more to in the future, even if it's just rocket boots for now. Because as far as we know, because they never really made any point about the equipment, it's probably not going to be a big deal, right? As in, it might just be the rocket boots. But do we call them down, or what are they actually for? And also, the thing that we haven't gotten any information on is because Ghost Ship, they do have standards for what they put in these updates. So a big piece of main gameplay content is something we haven't heard anything about yet, like a mission type or something like that. And there should be something like that. And I guess this is just teasing that. And
yeah,
I just
I think
I'm okay with being
really
Rockpox as long as
wild.
it's like really is making Rockpox a proper faction and giving it its like mission type or something. It's like if it is the inverse of like season 1 and 2, obviously not as big as season 1, but if it's kind of like the inverse, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think honestly, the Rockpox bomber alone makes Rockpox a more valid. Like it rounds it out quite a bit. Generally, but I think it would be wild if this is like a Rockpox Giga Boss game mode, because I feel like they learned not to do part twos and not to do those types of game modes. I thought that was the two things they learned from season 1 and season 2.
We'll see. It might not be,
and it looks like they're doing both.
It might not be a mission. I don't know. I can't really guess from it. Where the boss is going to be. As in, it could be like an event even, which would be preferred if it's one of the events. Well, no, but that's the thing I find interesting though, because obviously we know it's to do with Rockpox now as well. We don't know anything else. Like, we can't guess about that. But obviously, we know that they learnt that sequels aren't a great idea, but I think that's more so like a name thing. I think they're still going to try and theme this around something else, sort of like with like the title, like the font of the title. It's not going to be as much about the plague, I don't think.
It kind of looks it.
It'd be weird if it wasn't based on this, but I'm just saying, why would they say the things that they said then about that stuff? What does it all mean?
Yeah. Maybe they realized not to push the part 2 as much. Like part 2 is there, but they are pushing these new enemies more than the Rockpox, right? They teased these new other enemies and not the Rockpox Goo Bomber, which I assume we'll probably see in action like at some point soon. But well, like next week or something. But they've clearly they've not pushed Rockpox Part 2 at all until now, right? We didn't even know that's what we were getting.
That's what I mean.
So
that's why I
they
don't think it's the
backed off
biggest.
on that.
That's why I don't think it's like the main. Not main focus isn't even really correct. I don't really know how to put it at all, to be honest.
I think it could be physically the main focus, but they know not to push it as such. I think that might be something. Not to advertise it as part 2.
That sort of means they're just using Rockpox as like the theme, and they're just expanding it a little bit while they add other stuff, which seems like an even worse, like antithetical to the lesson they learn, even more so. If they just use it as a name, and then they put more effort into the other stuff.
I think we're going too far considering what we're seeing here, because it looks like
it is the key art though, and it shows us the things that are important, which is the new enemies, more Rockpox, and the hover boots.
Yeah, I think it might be safe to assume that these are small enemies are the 3 new small enemies we were getting, which, as it stands, I'm not going to voice my opinion right now, even though it's pretty obvious what it would be by the fact I'm not saying it. It's not as many as we were hoping, if this is the case.
Well, key art never
as I said,
never showed everything
there
in
are
that
2
department.
dwarfs missing.
Yep.
Either they are being obscured by the shadow, or the picture is more zoomed in, which I slightly doubt because the ratio is kind of right. Like, there's not much else you could. Like, if you zoom out any more, the things would lose focus. If you know what I mean. But it would be a kind of bad piece of art if you zoom out more. I'm not sure about that. I think they might be concealed fighting whatever that is in the background. But yeah, we'll see.
That's what I think. Yeah.
This is getting pretty hyped now, definitely. We finally got the key art, which is an important piece.
Well, I suppose what's weird about that is though, the key art. It's always like started like an obscured version of it at the very start. It's just kind of weird. I guess they just chose to do things differently because this is essentially this isn't that obscured. Or at least when you look to the previous ones, it's like I guess it's not too dissimilar from season 2. I just mean season 3 was like completely obscured, but it was still the key art. But it was just like completely obscured by the goggles. But season 2 was like had all the dwarves in it, or at least it had the scout with the crossbow, and then it had like the nemesis obscured in darkness. It was not too dissimilar, but they are showing a lot. I
don't think there was anything that they could have teased in a really obscure teaser that wouldn't have said Rockpox again, and I don't think they wanted that to be the first thing to come out of their mouths.
Yeah, like, and I don't know, and that's the thing. I don't have to take that. I don't know if that means it's not the main focus or it's because a little bit.
I just think they know it shouldn't be the main focus of the marketing because that is it.
That's
right?
fair. They haven't
been
marketing
that just players. Yeah. It was the marketing. It got no new players back because it was the same thing again, and current players didn't really come back. But this isn't just the same thing again. At least they're not marketing it as such.
I think the thing I actually do like what it kind of does tell us is that they are adding new enemies. We kind of knew this already, but I just mean they're adding new enemies aside from the actual season theme, which has actually been the problem with seasons, is that they always had things in this sort of bubble, and there's still going to be a bit of that, but we also have the not Rockpox guys who won't be in that bubble. Yeah. And that's a really good thing. And it's sort of like they're adding a little bit in every area instead of just equipment and seasonal content. It's like equipment, seasonal content, and other gameplay content a little bit with the new enemies. Sort of dipping their toes into quite a few, which means it's probably going to be quite sparse, the content, like how much you get of it in each department, but it's still touching more. They're dipping their toes into more parts of the game actually than before, to be fair.
You know what?
By adding normal enemies.
I mentioned it would be kind of bad if they zoomed out a little bit. I take that back because there is something to the right. That Stingtail is probably attacking a dwarf or aiming up a dwarf. And there's something about that area there that they don't want to reveal yet.
Well, I hope it's another power-up, basically. That's what I hope.
It could be another power-up, could be another enemy that they're not willing to reveal yet. And then, because it would also mean whatever the thing in the middle is would be in the middle if they zoom out slightly more.
And it should be. It's just because as well.
The Stingtail, it doesn't make much sense that he's kind of looking out of nowhere doing nothing particularly, especially since, the other one, like the other two are very actively fighting against a dwarf.
Oh, no, I think you're right.
Kind of weird.
I think this is skewed to the left. And what I hope it is that it's that, and the other two dwarves are on the right, and they're both using another power-up. There's like one on the left and one on the right. There's like two main power-ups. And also, I guess this isn't like crazy.
I could see him getting like a bubble shield or some shit.
This isn't crazy, but obviously it does just tell us that it was the rocket boots in the box, but it's not like unexpected. It's not...
It did reveal a lot. It revealed how that bulbous enemy attacks. It revealed the rocket boots were in the box. It revealed that we are doing Rockpox again with a new Rockpox enemy. Like, those three things alone is like more than any singular teaser has given us. But I think it's interesting how the arcade machine and the hub stuff obviously can't be conveyed in this image. And so we probably won't learn anything from
that
this.
Stuff too, I suppose. Yeah. It's kind of weird, and that's why
this is going to be a very interesting season.
It's going to be. I think it's actually going to be interesting. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I know I've said this before. I think it's going to be better than season 3. Better. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah.
I don't.
I think it will be able to run because season 3 stumbled and fell. Like I think that might be the case that they've got Rockpox, so they can build on it better now, and stuff like that. They learn lessons, stuff along those lines. But yeah, and I don't think it's saying much that it's going to be better. But then again, it doesn't look like we're getting anything in terms of equipment, like actual genuine, like no signs of like overclocks or anything along those lines. Like as far as things you use in the missions, nothing is changing.
Well,
unless in some missions you'll get jet boots.
Yeah, obviously there is that, and that's what I mean. It was never like mentioned beforehand. But then again, they never made a big deal of like the roadmap, and that's where you would get told that kind of thing. I'm
just saying the effect
I'm not saying
that
the door
might
is
have
open,
on
but
players.
I'm just saying overclocked is a very difficult thing to convey in something like this.
Yeah, I agree.
This doesn't. I don't think it's locked off, but at the same time, I don't think equipment was their main focus this season. So I
Yeah,
wouldn't be
but the
surprised either.
issue is that I think equipment is like the main focus of players. Generally, that's the content that is
But we
malleable and
we
used.
haven't got straight up new enemies in a while either. So maybe people
No,
have
yeah.
forgotten that
I
they're
think we
actually quite
might.
similar.
Yeah, I think Overclock might be the content we get slapped around the face with on the release teaser.
I fucking
Like,
hope so.
because that feel like that was fit.
I know,
But
it's just
otherwise,
like it
yeah,
doesn't.
it'll be...
The thing is, considering that, and considering we're getting these rocket boots as well as this sort of like weird little power up thing, I sort of feel like if they just brushed up, they don't even need to make one for every gun. Just take all the prototypes they had and just brush them up and just drop them, and then that would really like bring this up a lot. I think, you know, you don't even need one for every weapon, especially considering getting the rocket boots, which aren't huge, but it's still a little bit of something else.
Because otherwise,
And I don't want them to make.
it's
The thing is,
literally-
I don't want them to make a huge deal of adding new overclocks. I want it to be done in a way where they can sort of just sprinkle them on occasionally. But so far, we haven't got any, which makes it feels like they're building up to a bigger dump. But I don't need it to be that way. Either way, we'll see about that. That's obviously an extrapolation because this shot doesn't tell us anything about that. But
No.
until then, Rockpox and other stuff is worth pointing
Yeah.
out. Yeah, that's how it goes.